Hello, my name is Cheryl Wilson and I am an abstract painter. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. I do abstract painting, I do some training, I do some artist talks, and a little bit of everything. If you're returning, thank you again so much for continually coming back week after week. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I appreciate all the comments you've been leaving for me and suggestions. It's just been warming my heart. This week I have a special video. It was always requested. I've done a video on this before, but it is a video that warrants being covered many times, and it's on value and value contrast. They are basically the same, but let me explain what value is and what value contrast is, because understanding the terminology of both will help you understand the importance of this in your art. It is, to me, if I were to pick one concept in abstract art, and there's quite a few, maybe 10 or 12, value and understanding value contrast is the most important. When I learned what it was and how to use it, and I am still learning, it took my art from very beginner level to art that actually sold, and I can tell when I've hit the nail on the head and I've done a good contrast in my values. I know right away in my painting, and those paintings are the ones that sell the quickest. I've also included for you a short document, and the link will be down below, and it's called 3 Basic Concepts to Use in Value Contrast in Your Abstract Paintings. And what's so important about it is a short document, but I've added some exercises on how to use value contrast efficiently. And it's in my PayHip account, and just go to the link, follow the link, and it will take you to the document. Then you can download it as a PDF for free. I periodically like to create documents for you. If it's something I think that you'll use, you'll see a lot of other documents in there that are no cost to you, and then you'll see some that do have a cost. Put a lot of time into some of these documents, so some of them do have a cost. Value is, and I'll show you 3 paintings where there's examples of a good value contrast. Value is the difference between the light and dark in your colors or your hues. Most of us as artists, when we paint in the middle of the value scale. And I'll put a value scale up on the screen for you. It's just a natural thing that happens with all artists. And then we start to learn the value of value painting or value contrast. And that's the vast differences between the lights and the darks. And once we start to understand how it affects your paintings, our paintings really start to have some interest in them. You know, there's those other things like differences in shapes and things like that, but value is so critical to know, and I'll later on give you more information as we progress in the video. But it is a way that the eye, when your collectors, your viewers, or you look at your painting, how it flows through the painting. If you look at your painting, it is very flat, and there's really no place to look. There's no focal point. There's no exciting areas. It's probably because you have painted within the mid-range of that value scale. Now, I teach in this video the gray scale, and I teach the black and white gray because it's easier to understand it. Once you understand it in this format, you can translate it to your paintings that have color in them. There is a way, and I'll briefly touch on it, to take your paintings and change them, like on your iPhone or in a software package, to black and white, so you can see a colored painting or paintings with different colors in them, to a black and white, and you can see the different values. But understanding it in this format, black and white, and the grayscale will be a good way, even for me, once I've understood it, to continually grow in understanding, getting better and better at it. It gives depth in your painting. Many times we can't figure out what's wrong with our painting. We're stuck in the middle. A lot of times it's your value. So it's composition and design controls what is seen. Value controls where the person is looking and how they look around the painting. You don't want the eye to get stuck in one area. There's a lot of other things involved in that, but value is a key thing there. So let's jump into the 3 paintings I want to show you that have a good value contrast, and that's differences between light and dark, and the eye really goes to a spot in the grayscale where you have the darkest dark and the lightest light and they're next to each other. That is value contrast at the best, and you'll see in these paintings where the eye goes. So let's jump into the paintings and then we'll do a demonstration of 2 paintings, and one where I show you you're stuck because everything is right in the middle of the value scale. The second, I start out with doing a knowledge of knowing black, the contrast of the black and the white, and then I go back to the first one and fix it for you. So let's jump into the 3 paintings, and I hope this will be valuable for you. I think it will be. Please click the like, please subscribe, and hit the bell if you want to be notified. So this is the first painting, and someone asked me the question every once in a while when I show my art if it's for sale, and yes, the art that I show you, I'm going to show you 2 pieces that are actually still on my website, and there's one that's sold. But I create my art and I do sell my art. So when I show you a piece, unless I tell you it's for a demonstration, I'll let you know if it's for sale. But this one's on my website. It's a 16 by 20. When I initially did this painting, I did not have that stark contrast there at the bottom. And I put an arrow there to show you where I'm talking about. And I was really trying to understand. I love, you can't see the texture from just the picture, but there's a lot of texture in this painting. And I had some marks in it, small marks, large marks, a lot of things going on, but it just didn't stand out to me. And I couldn't figure out why. One of the things, which of course I will go over and always repeat in another video, is the differences in shapes. There's a lot of differences in shapes, even in the black shapes that are at the bottom and the white shapes. But it's the value, and it's the contrast between the black and white. As soon as I added the black swipe with a palette knife, and then I added the white swipe over top, I knew the painting was done. And I love this painting. And then I added up there by the triangular black mark some more white. It needed the contrast between the black and white. As you remember, I said that a lot of people paint within the mid-range of the value scale. And as soon as I added the values on either end of the value scale to draw the eye around, and then there's other black marks throughout the painting wasn't done yet. It didn't have his last word to say. So this is a good example of how adding in the contrast, and you can see between the stark black and white right there next to each other, how it really just completes the painting. This next painting is a smaller painting. It's a 12 by 12, but it's the same concept. I was painting through it, and I've got a lot of the color. Now, I added a little bit of color in this one. I didn't switch it over to a pure tone of the grayscale. so that you could see some color in it. But it's got a lot of the color of the midtones in there. And then the pencil marking, some of the lighter pencil marking is in the middle of the scale. Some of the darker, thicker brought out some of the other opposite end of the scale with the black. But by adding the big black shape there on the right hand side, and then on the left hand side, that swath of black, and then even down at the bottom in the middle, kind of over to the right, next to the gold, a spot of black. And then the thicker, like a charcoal pencil, adding some black marks in there. Some of them are a little bit even smudged. And then taking the white, it's like a white chalk pencil, and doing like the circular mark. And then putting on the palette knife some white paint and wiping it into the painting over top of other areas to emphasize some more white, even though this is primarily a grayscale painting. The contrast, the value contrast is there. And when I finished the painting and I did not have that white kind of like a circular mark over there on the right hand side, it wasn't finished for me. And then I love marks. So instead of just using the black charcoal or the black all over the painting marks, I grabbed the white and did it on top of the black to make that stark value contrast look. And that's what completed the painting. So this last painting, before we get into the demonstration of a couple paintings, is bringing in a little bit more color. And the reason why I wanted to is so kind of just to open your eyes to other color in the painting, not just black and white. But basically what I wanted to say here is the last thing I added to this painting was that white there on the right hand side, and then I scratched through some lines in it. I had some value contrast in there, but it wasn't enough to add enough of a difference. I'm tipping into something here that is the second to me most important thing, and that is shapes and differences. There's a lot of differences in shapes here, and there's some thin lines, thick lines, swirls, and then adding that white. The reason why I added it in a square shape is because I did not have a square on the painting. It was a different shape. It was thicker than the other things I added on there. So adding the value, I could have added it in any color I wanted, but it needed the a stark difference between the big black in there, which was, in my opinion, white. It could have been a lighter cream, but I love black and white. And then having it in a triangular shape, more or less, is what really helped make this painting. And this painting sold. It's on paper, but I wanted to add this in because it tips into another area that we'll cover in other videos. I wanted to take a brief moment and thank you to those that commented on my video, Should I Quit YouTube? That was an eye-opener for me, and I took a short little vacation in the midst of all that and read the comments. I tried to respond to every single comment, but I learned a lot, and I'm still learning. I gathered a lot of information. What I thought initially, that I wasn't putting out good quality videos, and my views went down to very few, well, around 400, 500 on the average the last several videos. And I learned from you all that it's mainly the algorithm of YouTube. I can't even begin to understand that algorithm, but I do know what helps is giving a like, and it can be anywhere between, say, Cheryl, hi, how are you? I appreciate this topic. I love one thing about the video. That would be great if you could migrate your way up to leaving a like, a thumbs up, and leaving comments, and then watching the video. Of course, a lot of you that are watching the video, there's a good many that are now subscribers, but that helps too. YouTube looks at all that because the video following that is, I think this morning it was like at 1600. So it looks at what you all are doing on my videos. And I know that some of you are on TVs and it's hard to find or migrate your way to a thumbs up button. Some of you may not do that, just a preference. But those that could, if you would help me share my video. There's a lot of people who said they weren't seeing my video because if you don't have the bell on or you're not subscribed, I get lost with all the other people putting videos out there, and then I don't pop up again in your feed. So there were a lot of reasons why my numbers went down. I'm not saying I couldn't do a better job. I'm trying to grow as I do my videos for you, but I do know the algorithm is a huge part in my growing on this channel and to grow so that I can keep putting videos out and feel inspired by you all. But I love the comments. You were so wonderful and you left me comments that encouraged me and touched my heart. I cried. I got a lot of private comments. Thank you so much. And I even had quite a few join my membership. My membership right now is only like $2.99. It's just support. I don't put anything extra out. And yet a lot of you are supporting me that way, which thank you. I love you all. I love all of you, but that means a lot to me. I'm going to say more once I get an idea, but I am going to do some more training that will be extra. Don't know where I'm going to do it. It's got to be off the YouTube platform because YouTube is kind of penalizes you. I don't have any control. It's going to be over on my Intentional Artist website, Patreon, someplace else. More about that. Let's jump into the actual demo because that's what you're here for, right? Yeah. So here's the first painting that I wanted to show you, and I'm doing a voiceover because I wanted to make sure that the audio was clear. Most artists, and I mentioned this several times because it is very true, will start to paint without even realizing it, and they'll paint in the middle of the value scale. I put one up there, the grayscale. And you'll notice as I'm creating the colors, I am mixing. I'm doing a good job of mixing. I'm having fun taking risks. I'm doing different shapes. I'm blending several different colors. And I'm just enjoying the painting of this abstract painting. But I'm not really paying a lot of attention to my values of adding the darkest dark and the lightest light in this painting. As you can see, I'm holding the value scale up, and you can see that even though I had that very, very dark, that's not the darkest dark that you can have. The darkest dark would be like a black, a Mars black. It could be a Payne's gray, a lot of different colors, but in the black and white and the grayscale, I would do a black, and then the whitest white would be like a titanium white. But I'm adding in, you'll see that I will be doing some scrapes. I'm doing some drips in there. I'm doing everything. I'm doing different brushes. There's a fan brush. I'm doing thick brushes, thin brushes. I'm twirling the brush around. I'm adding differences in like some more, line work, and then some curvy lines. I'm doing everything in an abstract painting that you would want to put in there. And I'm having fun. But I would say about now, a lot of artists, I'm going to go ahead and fill up this whole page here, because that's what happens a lot of times when you get frustrated. It's like, okay, nothing is working for me here. Everything is flat on the paper. But let me add some lines. Let me grab my charcoal or my graphite. Let me add some lines. Let me add some marks. That's what I normally do to get myself out of trouble. Okay, let me grab a different brush. This is a brush with a very stubby end. It gives like a different rough look. So let me do some more drips. I'm trying. And a lot of times what happens is we fill the paper. We continue to add color. We continue to add marks. We're looking for what can we do to make this painting all of a sudden finished. And I keep going to the midtones. I'm not paying attention whether I'm seasoned enough as an artist in this part of the painting to understand what I'm doing. I'm not bringing in the value, the differences in value that is going to make this painting just pop. So let me finish this painting and then I'll show you the next one. See the midtones in there. A little bit of white there in the center. Okay, I grabbed a scraper because that's kind of like one of my go-tos. See if I get some more different marks. In itself, it's really a pretty painting. There's a lot going on there. But what's wrong with it? Why is it boring? Why does the eye not go anywhere? So this one, I have a little more knowledge in this one. So I'm going to start out to make sure that I add in some values on that scale that's up above. I'm going to add in some dark darks and some light lights in between all of the other colors that I'm going to add to this painting. And you'll see what a difference it makes by knowing this one concept of adding value and value contrast. So we go ahead and start filling in the whole paper again. Let's just go ahead and try to make the same thing. But instead of watering down that black with other tones, I'm going to ensure that I have a darkest dark in my painting. I'm going to have several in here. A lot gets covered up, but I want to make sure I really have some darks in here, following the concept of different shapes, some, squares, some curves. Now, this is not a painting. This is mainly for a demonstration for you, but I think you'll get the idea. You can start with your darkest darks or your lightest lights first and fill in. Or, as you see when I go back to that first painting, you can paint your painting and figure out what you've done wrong and go and fix it and add in. That's primarily how I work, because I'm like all of you. I work in the midtones a lot. But by knowing that, working around and ensuring I have that dark black in there and I have some white really helps set the painting up for more of a successful ending of a painting. Still using the concept of, I grab, that's a short, stubby, large brush, but it brings in, you want differences of brushes. If you have all the same brush in an abstract, it becomes very, you don't have differences. So I'm adding some more scrapes. I love the scraper. It flattens out. There was a video several back, maybe about 3 or 4 videos ago, where I did a concept of doing minimal painting by using the scraper. The scraper is great. That and the blue shop towel. I love both of those. So now I'm bringing in my graphite or charcoal, whatever you want to use, adding more differences. They're thin lines. What a difference between that painting and this one. Okay, so let's go back to this one. What did we learn? We learned that I painted this painting with some lights, more lights than maybe the darks, but you can see it's majority right there smack in the middle. No black and very little of the white. One little spot there. So let's fix this one now that we know. So anything I do here is gotta be better than what is currently on the painting, right? So we're taking a look at it, knowing the concept of values and having the darkest dark and the lightest light. Of course, I always got to get my fingers in there. Right away, adding that in there just gives the painting a pop, and that's what it needed. Of course, I'm feeling, I'm using the concept of having the eye flow, and it's easy to do when you're adding the dark in because it's easy to know where to put down because you know that your eye needs to flow around, so it kind of becomes natural. And I'm adding in, of course, my marks, which I always do. And the painting all of a sudden becomes more appealing to the eye. You like it better. It kind of inspires you to take next steps on it, right? So at this point, I'm inspired now. I'm out of that stuck zone. So I'm bringing out my stencils, and those are the water-based paints, spray paints. So I'm remembering all the things I like, and that's a titanium white. So you notice how I did the spray down in the left-hand corner on top of the black. It's the contrast, the black and the white, value contrast, the darkest dark and the lightest light. So I'm looking through, I'm inspired now, I'm grabbing some more stencils. What else do I want to do? There's another favorite stencil. It's got the little tiny holes in it. And all these are off of Amazon. I get a lot of my stencils from Amazon. If you look in my Amazon store, the link's down below in the description, you'll see a lot of the things I use. The spray paint, the pencils I use. But I'm liking this painting. It's brought it back. There's the first one I did. The knowledge of knowing value contrast, knowing how to get the biggest exciting looks in your painting by doing the darkest dark and the lightest lights and having the eye go through the painting, not staying in the middle of that zone there on the value scale. Those are key. You get those down. And then, of course, the other thing, the differences in shapes and stuff. But you get the value down. You've come a long ways in your journey. These paintings are really looking, I can see these paintings on a very large scale, like, 48 by 60. Really just enjoyable, black and white. And I think that you can get these concepts down. It's huge in your art journey. So I'm just finishing up. I could have quit at any point here, but I'm just having fun adding more marks. You get out of that rut of that middle stage by knowing what to do. It can really allow you to take the risks if you know what to do. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for being a part of my journey. Thank you for coming back for another video. I do truly love all of you, and thank you.